Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between lush green hills and sparkling streams, lived a humble stonecutter named Haru. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, Haru would walk to the foot of the great mountain, pick up his hammer and chisel, and begin his work. He spent his days cutting stone from the mountain, shaping blocks that builders used to create temples, bridges, and houses. Though his labor was hard, Haru was content. He lived simply in a small hut with his wife and ate whatever they could grow or trade. But one day, while delivering stones to a rich merchant, Haru saw something that stirred his heart. The merchant's grand house, its walls shining like gold, servants running to and fro, and silk curtains fluttering in the breeze. Haru sighed deeply and thought, how powerful the merchant must be. He has wealth, respect, and comfort. If only I were a rich man, I would be truly happy. That night, Haru returned to his little hut and sat silently by the fire. The stars glittered above the mountain, and in his sadness he whispered, if only I could be rich, I would never want for anything again. To his surprise, a deep, gentle voice echoed through the air. Haru, your wish shall be granted. When he awoke the next morning, his humble hut had vanished. In its place stood a grand mansion filled with gold, silk, and servants ready to serve him. Haru could hardly believe his eyes. He had become the richest man in the village. For days, Haru lived in luxury. He wore fine clothes, ate the best food, and everyone bowed when he passed. But soon he noticed something strange. People bowed even lower when the prince's carriage passed by. The prince's golden chariot glimmered in the sunlight, and soldiers cleared the way for him. Haru's heart filled with envy once again. The prince, he thought, is far greater than any rich man. I wish I could be a prince. And just as before, the gentle voice whispered through the wind, Haru, your wish shall be granted. In the blink of an eye, Haru found himself dressed in royal robes, wearing a crown upon his head. Soldiers stood at attention around him, and courtiers bowed as he passed. He sat in a chariot drawn by 6 white horses, adored by all. For a while, Haru was delighted. He commanded with authority, and everyone obeyed. But one summer afternoon, as he was riding through his kingdom, the blazing sun beat down on his head. Even his golden crown grew hot, and sweat poured down his face. He looked up angrily at the brilliant sun and muttered, the sun is mightier than I. It shines upon rich and poor alike, and even a prince must bow before its power. I wish I could be the sun. And once again, the mysterious voice said, Haru, your wish shall be granted. Instantly, Haru felt his body dissolve into blinding light. He became the great sun itself, soaring high in the sky, flooding the world with warmth and brilliance. He shone upon mountains and seas, upon princes and peasants. He was unstoppable, or so he thought. But one day, dark clouds gathered before him. They covered his light, blocking his rays from touching the earth. No matter how hard he shone, the clouds refused to move. Haru grew furious. Those clouds are stronger than I. I wish to be a cloud. The voice returned, soft but firm. Haru, your wish shall be granted. In an instant, Haru became a mighty cloud. He floated freely across the sky, shading the land, pouring rain upon fields and rivers. He thundered and flashed, bringing life and sometimes floods. For a while, he felt powerful. Then one day, as he raged across the sky, he crashed against a mountain. The mountain stood firm, unmoved by his winds or his rain. No matter how fiercely he stormed, it would not bend or break. Haru stared down at the towering peak and said bitterly, that mountain is stronger than I. I wish I could be the mountain. The voice whispered once again, Haru, your wish shall be granted. And so Haru became the great mountain itself, tall, vast, and unyielding. He stood proudly, touching the clouds, watching the seasons change around him. Now, he thought, I am the strongest thing on earth. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Haru was finally content. But one morning he felt something sharp and painful at his side. Chip, chip, chip. He looked down, and there at his base stood a small man with a hammer and chisel cutting away pieces of stone. Haru realized with shock, it is a stonecutter, just like I once was. And no matter how hard he tried, he could not stop the man. The stonecutter worked tirelessly, day after day, shaping and carving. Each strike echoed through Haru's vast body. In that moment, Haru understood. The mountain, though mighty, could still be shaped by the hands of a simple stonecutter. Suddenly humbled, he whispered, "Now I see. The stonecutter is strong, not because of riches or power, but because he accepts his life and works with his own hands. I no longer wish to be anything else. I only wish to be myself again." For the last time, the voice spoke gently. "Haru, your wish shall be granted." And when Haru opened his eyes, he found himself once more at the foot of the mountain, holding his old hammer and chisel. The warm sun shone above, the river sang nearby, and his little hut waited for him in the distance. He smiled, tears filling his eyes. Everything was as it should be. From that day on, Haru never wished to be someone else again. He worked happily, knowing that true strength came not from wealth, power, or might, but from being content with who he was. And though many in the village grew rich or famous, none were ever as peaceful as Haru, the humble stonecutter who had once been a mountain. Moral of the story: true happiness comes not from power, wealth, or status, but from being content with who you are. Envy and desire only lead to endless dissatisfaction, while gratitude turns ordinary life into extraordinary joy.